My name is Tor Jakob Ramsøy. I'm the founder and the CEO of Arundo. We've been in business now for 2.5 years. So I got an idea, I would say 3 to 4 years ago. I was for 15 years a senior partner in McKinsey, and I was leading actually technology practice globally in asset-heavy industries. And of course, like every consulting company in the world, you were doing some work of figuring out what's the industry 4.0 and that's going to be about. And figured out that all the asset-heavy industries, they have a lot of data, but they're not using it in any kind of a systematic way or storing it historically. And so the idea was a little bit to bring what's happening in more consumer-oriented industries. How could Amazon recommend a book to buy, or Netflix what movie you want to see? How is American Express doing fraud detection? Could we apply some of these algorithms, those techniques of identifying a failure before a failure is happening on an oil rig? Could we optimize production in an aluminium mill or something like that by understand when is good and when is bad production? So I left McKinsey, I founded Arundo, and we actually built the company. We did it actually pretty different. We did it on 3 locations at the same time. We did it in Silicon Valley, we did it in Houston, because the biggest oil and gas market, which is our prime segment initially, is based in Houston. But some of the most advanced applications are in the North Sea. So we also have an office in Oslo. Currently, of course, we also have an office now in Boston. So that's a little bit the origin of the company. So the whole idea is to take all the data who already exist historically, build technology to capture and analyze live streaming analytics, and based on that provide solutions that could optimize your operations. So our main focus has been on 3 industry verticals: oil and gas, shipping, and renewables. Initially it was mostly oil and gas. The reason is because they literally invented big data 30, 40 years ago in the seismic modelings and geophysics. So they have a lot of data. They have very advanced equipment. It's a lot of sensors, it's a lot of data who exists. So it's no problem of getting access to data. And it's a big industry. It's the biggest industry in the world. It's very similar when you move into our other segments, which is shipping. It's the same equipment manufacturers, and it's the same challenges also in utilities. So it's all about increased asset utilization, which means you need to understand how you could minimize downtime and how you could increase productivity with the same level or less resources, safer and better. So if that was our 3 initial segments, we also now have customers in mining. We also have people or companies in discrete manufacturing. So all asset-heavy industries are our customers, even also companies who is providing equipment to those industries. So one of our initial customers, or that we build a lot of our technology, was Statoil. Statoil is also an MIT ILP company, so it's quite fun that we are now also part of the MIT STEX and ILP. One of the problems they wanted to have help with was how could we understand what is driving failures on a compressor. So a compressor is typically, if you're producing gas, you need a compressor to get all the gas pushed to the continental Europe, to Germany as an example. So if that one is failing, you're losing your production. So what we did was build algorithms, build also the technology to capture and analyze this data. So we could figure out what was explaining the failure. And then when you have a historical model, you apply that one on the real data, real-time streaming, and then you could do predictive operations or predictive maintenance and avoid failures. So you could change your production profile, or if the part is going to break anyhow, you could then have a controlled stop rather than an unplanned stop. So that was actually one of our first use cases and one of our first customers we had.